When Michael's fiancée Sophia called me for help, I refused to answer. The result, he slapped me. She is my fiancée. Can't you understand her just this once? I never imagined he would hit me for another woman. I never imagined that woman would shield me from him, her voice trembling. 2 days ago, he rushed out to pick her up when she was drunk, closed my unsaved design drafts, and forced me to go to the site with him in my pajamas. Today, he coldly pulled her away and told me to reflect on my actions. But they all forgot when Sophia leaned on my shoulder and whispered, "Nora, do you think he'll be on your side or mine?" I already knew at that moment today's slap was just the beginning of a joke.
Welcome to Airless's Romance Stories. Read the entire novel in one go. Message or comment to tell me what kind of story you'd like to read. Subscribe to the channel for daily updates. Airless reminds you, the story begins now.
When Mitchell Rickard's fiancée, Cecilia Kinsey, called for help, I hung up. When Mitchell found out, he slapped me. So what if I really care about her? She is still my fiancée, Natalie Larson. Cecilia has sacrificed so much for both of us. Is it really that hard for you to accept her? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I never thought Mitchell would actually hit me. Cecilia didn't expect it either. She rushed over, her eyes full of worry, her trembling hands hovering around my face, but she didn't touch me. Natalie, are you all right? Does it hurt? Mitchell, what are you doing? How could you hit her? Mitchell pulled Cecilia to his side, his face icy. Mind your own business. I'll take you to the hospital first. She'd better think this through. My head was hit to the side, and it took me a while to realize what had happened. My ears were ringing, and my whole face was numb. Mitchell dragged Cecilia toward the door. She kept looking back at me, her eyes filled with complex emotions. I couldn't tell if it was sympathy, relief, or the satisfaction of victory. 2 nights ago, Cecilia got drunk. A friend of hers called Mitchell to come pick her up. Mitchell was cutting fruit, his phone tucked between his shoulder and ear. His face darkened as soon as he heard what had happened. Who gave her that? Don't they know she has a sensitive stomach? You wait there. I'll be right there. He tossed the half-peeled apple into the trash can. After washing his hands, he grabbed his coat and headed for the door. Only when he opened it did he seem to remember me. Nadia, come with me. I am not going. I had already changed into my pajamas. Work was waiting for me. Mitchell didn't say a word, walked straight over, and closed my laptop before I could even react. I spent 2 hours drawing this, and I haven't saved it yet. Mitchell, what are you doing? He looked at me, his face turning serious and reproachful. Cecilia's drunk. She is a woman, and it is late. Do you know how dangerous this is? Natalie, can you please stop making things worse? I didn't even have time to change, just hurriedly threw on a coat over my pajamas before Mitchell dragged me into the car. We sped through the night and arrived at our destination. Mitchell carried Cecilia out of the car. He gently placed her in the back seat. Nadia, sit in the back. Hold Cecilia up, don't let her throw up. Cecilia leaned quietly on my shoulder. The car drove smoothly along the road. Soft music played, soothing our tense emotions. Mitchell and I didn't say a word. Cecilia spoke first, her voice almost inaudible. She said, Nadia, let's make a bet. Will Mitchell be on your side or mine? I looked down at her. Her eyes were glazed and her eyes were red. You are drunk. But she just smiled softly. Nadia, do you know how envious I am of you? Why is it always you? Why can't it be me? She mumbled, but I understood every word. Cecilia, are you all right? Are you feeling unwell? Nadia, sit up a little, massage Cecilia's acupoint. We're almost there. Mitchell's voice was unusually gentle. I looked up and met his gaze in the rearview mirror. In that instant, he looked away. I didn't understand. Everything was so obvious. Why was Cecilia so sure that Mitchell didn't care about her? And why was Mitchell so certain that I was the one he truly wanted? Today felt like a cruel joke. Today is my birthday. It is also the day Cecilia's parents asked her to bring Mitchell home for dinner. Cecilia tried to act nonchalant. I am fine. I can go home by myself. Nadia's birthday can't be ruined. Mitchell feigned nonchalance. Okay, call me if anything happens. He even baked my birthday cake himself, but he was clearly distracted. He burned his hand, and the cake was overbaked and crooked. Mitchell stared at the messy cake and clicked his tongue in frustration. "Never mind. Don't eat that. I'll bake another one." He picked up the plate and turned to go back to the kitchen. Cecilia called me. "Happy birthday, Nady." 15 minutes later, Mitchell's phone rang. On the other end, Cecilia was crying. "Mitchell, I'm scared. Mitchell, can you come pick me up?" Cecilia had been in a car accident. The other driver was tall and aggressive, banging violently on her car window and forcing her out. Cecilia was terrified and called me for help, but I hung up. "I know I shouldn't bother you. Today is Nady's birthday." "But Mitchell, I don't know what else to do." Mitchell glared at me coldly and slammed the door shut. An hour later, he brought Cecilia to my house. Cecilia had some scrapes on her body, and he slapped me. I watched them walk away. "Mitchell, what else can you do?" Face slap, asterisk this time. My slap landed squarely, just like he had on me, knocking Mitchell's head to the side. He glared at me, his face dark. Cecilia cried out again. "Mitch, Nadia, you..." I took a step back, expressionless. "Enough. You two can leave now. Mitchell, Cecilia, and our relationship is complicated. Mitchell and I used to be together. Cecilia was my best friend. She and Mitchell were childhood sweethearts. Now, Mitchell and I are still a couple. Cecilia is still my best friend, but she and Mitchell have gone from childhood sweethearts to engaged. And it is all because of me, the year we went to college. The campus was packed with people, shoulder to shoulder. Don't eat that. I'll bake another one." He picked up the plate and turned to go back to the kitchen. Cecilia called me, "Happy birthday, Nady." 15 minutes later, Mitchell's phone rang. On the other end, Cecilia was crying. "Mitchell, I'm scared. Mitchell, can you come pick me up?" Cecilia had been in a car accident. The other driver was tall and aggressive, banging violently on her car window and forcing her out. Cecilia was terrified and called me for help, but I hung up. "I know I shouldn't bother you. Today is Nady's birthday. But Mitchell, I don't know what else to do." Mitchell glared at me coldly and slammed the door shut. An hour later, he brought Cecilia to my house. Cecilia had some scrapes on her body, and he slapped me. I watched them walk away. "Mitchell, what else can you do?" Face slap. Asterisk this time. My slap landed squarely, just like he had on me. Knocking Mitchell's head to the side, he glared at me, his face dark. Cecilia cried out again. "Mitch! Nadia, you..." I took a step back, expressionless. "Enough. You two can leave now, Mitchell. Cecilia and our relationship is complicated. Mitchell and I used to be together. Cecilia was my best friend. She and Mitchell were childhood sweethearts. Now, Mitchell and I are still a couple. Cecilia is still my best friend, but she and Mitchell have gone from childhood sweethearts to engaged. And it is all because of me. The year we went to college, the campus was packed with people, shoulder to shoulder. Cecilia's birthday present was on the floor. Even after the accident, even after she was injured, she still came to see me with a gift. She humbly and apologetically tried to put the present into my hands. I gently pushed her away. The present fell to the floor. Mitchell couldn't take it anymore and slapped me hard. Even now, I can still feel the sting on my cheek. I stepped over the present, ignoring the birthday cake on the table. 40 minutes later, I packed all my things, took my laptop, and checked into a hotel. Overnight, I finished drawing all the necessary construction blueprints. I stretched, yawned, and went downstairs for breakfast. When I got back, I texted my boss, asking for a day off. Then I collapsed onto the bed. I slept soundly, without a single dream. It felt like I closed my eyes for only a moment, and when I opened them again, it was already dark. The shrill ring of my phone woke me. A while later, I answered. Mitchell's voice came through, tinged with anger. "Where are you? Do you think disappearing is fun? Natalie, do you know how heartbroken Sissy is? She was terrified, having nightmares all night, and now she can't reach you. How far are you planning to take this?" "Natalie, answer me," he roared, his breathing rapid and erratic. I rubbed my aching temples. "Mitchell, when you have time, give me back my debit card." "What debit card?" Mitchell suddenly stopped. There was a deathly silence on the other end of the line. I thought the call had dropped. "Hello, Mitchell." "Or tell me a time, I'll come get it, Natalie." Mitchell interrupted me, her voice full of annoyance. "What do you want?" To be honest, I hadn't figured out what I was going to do yet, but things always have to be done one step at a time. First, I had to get my debit card back. Right now, there should be nearly $200,000 in that card. I scrimped and saved every penny, intending to use it for a down payment on a house and then marry Mitchell. At first, saving money was really difficult. If I had $200, I would save $100. If I had $2,000, I would save $1,500. Mitchell would always pull me close, laughing and saying, I loved money too much. I clutched my debit card tightly, tossing and turning on the small bed in our rented apartment. "Mitchell, I've already saved $20,000. When I save $40,000, let's go look at houses, okay? You can't buy a house for $40,000. Then let's look. If I could really do it, I'd be even more motivated." "Mitchell, take my debit card." "Why, in case you run away, all the money I earn is for you." Mitchell couldn't help but laugh and shake his head, but he liked to show off that card to his friends. "Nadie gave me all her salary. Nadie supported me." His friends joked. "Enough for gambling?" Mitchell shook his head. "You don't understand. Is it just money? No, it is love. All of Nadie's love for me is embodied here." In the end, I saved $40,000. But Mitchell didn't have time to go house hunting with me. I saved $60,000. Mitchell bought a house and said, "Let's get married." I saved another $100,000. Mitchell and Cecilia threw a huge engagement party. I started saving even harder, as if putting more money in my account would solve everything. I was as stubborn as ever, practically asking for trouble. I arranged to meet Mitchell at his office. I pushed open the door and was about to turn and leave, because Cecilia was there, but she was faster than me. Before I could escape, she grabbed my arm. She looked exhausted, her voice pleading. "Nadia, can we talk?" She said she'd made a mistake, that she'd lost her mind. I wasn't thinking straight. I was thinking all sorts of things I shouldn't have, and I messed everything up. "Nadia, please forgive me, just 3 months. Once this project we're working on is finished, Mitchell and I will break off our engagement. I'll give him back to you, I swear." "Nadia, I'm so sorry." Cecilia looked at me, and I looked at Mitchell. Mitchell's face was filled with conflict and pain as he stared at Cecilia. I looked away and asked softly, "Where's my debit card?" Cecilia suddenly choked up, fighting back tears. Mitchell's brows furrowed tightly. "What do you want? What do you want to satisfy me? Or should I break off my engagement with Cecilia right now and marry you? Natalie, can't you be a little more mature?" I silently lowered my eyes. This wasn't the first time. Countless times they'd ignored me. I stood there, expressing my demands, making my point perfectly clear, but they seemed completely deaf. They interrupted me, preoccupied with their own stories, as if I didn't exist. Finally, I lost my patience. I abruptly swept the vase off the table. I picked up a shard of glass and without hesitation slashed my wrist. Bright red blood gushed out, flowing freely. Cecilia and Mitchell stared at me in horror. I spoke again, my voice calm. "What do I have to do to get rid of this relationship? What do you two want from me to leave? Do I have to die to be free?" Cecilia and Mitchell were engaged. Perhaps it was the perfect solution for everyone. There had never been love between Mitchell and Cecilia. They grew up together. Their families knew each other, but they weren't close. At most, they would nod or greet each other as they passed by. Since Cecilia and I became friends, and then I got together with Mitchell, the three of us started spending more time together. Everything Cecilia did was for me in front of others. She and Mitchell acted very close, but in private she kept a clear line, always reporting to me and explaining things. She would take on extra work so Mitchell could go home earlier and spend more time with me. "I can handle it myself. You haven't spent much time with Nadie lately. You don't need to come with me. I don't want Nadie to misunderstand. Don't drink too much. Nadie will worry if you get drunk. Stay away from those women. I'll keep an eye on you for Nadie." Back then, everything was to reassure me, to make sure I wouldn't worry. Whenever I was free, Mitchell would take me wherever he went. I would wait in the car, in the VIP lounge. In an empty room, Mitchell would rush to see me during his breaks, only to be quickly called away by Cecilia. Cecilia would wink, give an oak sign, and tell me everything was fine. When did things start to change? I can't even say. Maybe it was that time the three of us went out to dinner together. At first, we were all laughing and talking about this person, then that person, and then something else. Soon, I couldn't keep up with their conversation. They were laughing hysterically while I stood to the side, feeling completely out of place. Or perhaps it was another time. I was waiting for Mitchell at the door with his coat. Cecilia's friend came down with her, and the first thing she said when she saw me was, "This is Mitchell's mistress? She doesn't look like much." Or maybe it was the time Mitchell took me grocery shopping. We bought a lot of things and walked home hand in hand, but when a stranger appeared and called him Mr. Rickard, Mitchell suddenly let go of my hand. What exactly was Cecilia to Mitchell? At first, she was just a friend, but later she became a business partner. Later, he would say things like, "Cecilia's a real character, isn't she? So sharp-tongued. I never noticed before. Cecilia's got guts. She can come back to life so easily, and she never swears." I almost laughed myself to death. Cecilia can hold her liquor. I can't keep up with her at all. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Cecilia is so smart. With her around, my life is so much easier. Cecilia was dressed too lightly, so I gave her my coat. Cecilia wanted me to go home to find you, but how could I leave her alone? Cecilia was drunk, so I took her home. Cecilia, she's amazing. Cecilia started crying as she spoke. She gripped my hand tightly, sobbing uncontrollably, almost unable to breathe. Perhaps she had finally noticed the multiple burns on my wrist. "Nadia, why? Why did you hurt yourself like this?" I looked at her. After all these years, I could see she was truly heartbroken. "You love Mitchell." My words made Cecilia's hand twitch as if electrocuted. "Mitchell loves you too." Now even her eyelashes were trembling. "Then why can't I just leave?" Cecilia shook her head repeatedly, tears streaming down her face. "It is not what you think. Nadia, you don't understand. We're trapped by this engagement. We have to pretend to be very close in front of everyone. I admit, sometimes we get confused, but we both know it's wrong. We've never crossed the line, and we'll never pretend it's real." Mitchell returned with the medicine and saw everything. He clenched his fist and pulled Cecilia from her squatting position. "Enough. Enough. You've had a tough day. I'll take you home. Natalie is with me. I'll take care of her. Let go of me." Cecilia jerked free from Mitchell. "Mitchell, please. Don't do anything that will make Nadia think there is something between us. Don't wait 3 months. Tomorrow, we'll call off the engagement." Mitchell's hands were clenched tightly, his knuckles white. Seeing Cecilia so lost and in pain, he felt like every breath was torture. He turned to say something to me lying on the hospital bed, but I had already closed my eyes, rolled over, and pulled the blanket over my head. Silence filled the room. Soon, even Cecilia's sobs stopped. A series of hurried, chaotic footsteps sounded. Then came slow, dragging footsteps. The sound of leather shoes scraping on the floor. The chair scraped harshly against the linoleum floor. That heavy, undeniable gaze seared my back like a branding iron. I squeezed my eyes shut, shutting out everything around me. Soon, I drifted off to sleep. When I awoke again, I was alone in the hospital room. I stared wide-eyed at the ceiling. I don't know how long I lay there before the glaring, cold fluorescent light suddenly came on. A faint smell of smoke drifted in. Mitchell's voice was deep and strong. "You are awake. Why didn't you turn on the light?" Florence brought some soup. "Want it?" Mitchell. When are you going to return my debit card to me?" Mitchell clutched his hair in anguish. "Stop arguing. I'll do anything. Let's get married." A sharp pain shot through my chest, and I sighed deeply. "So, you're just pretending to be virtuous to avoid a bad reputation." "Mitchell, I never wanted to admit you were in love with Cecilia, but it seems even you don't want to admit it." "I'm not." Mitchell growled in a low voice. I looked at him, a bitter smile playing on my lips, then closed my eyes again. After Mitchell and Cecilia got engaged, I tried to break up with Mitchell 3 times. The first time was when Mitchell and Cecilia went on a trip abroad. The woman who called me her mistress came to me with a photo of Mitchell and Cecilia kissing. They've liked each other for a long time, they just didn't want to hurt you. Aren't you ashamed? You are in their way. If I were you, I'd pack my bags and leave. Do you really need someone to kick you out? Ultimately, they're the ones who did the right thing. And you. Just a mistress who doesn't even dare show her face. I texted Mitchell. Let's break up. I moved out, turned off my phone, and tried to cut off contact with everyone. 3 days later, a haggard Cecilia found me. She said Mitchell had gone crazy trying to contact me after receiving my message. He missed a meeting, botched a deal, and got a severe beating from his grandfather. Now he was in a hospital bed. Nadia, no matter what, you have to see him, okay? I went to the hospital in a daze. Mitchell tried to hug me with difficulty. Daniela glanced at me, sneered, and walked away. The photo was fake. It was just a camera trick. Mitchell simply helped Cecilia steady herself. They both sighed helplessly. Nadia, don't you even trust us? I felt a wave of nausea and rushed to the bathroom to vomit. It was all so absurd, as if my impulsiveness had ruined everything. The second time was more normal. Nothing happened. Cecilia sat in the passenger seat chatting with Mitchell about their plans. They were laughing and talking. Mitchell held up his hand, and Cecilia unscrewed a bottle of water and handed it to him. I glanced up and saw a small shop. I'd like to buy a donut from that shop. Mitchell, pull over. I'm going to buy a donut. Mitchell, stop the car. Mitchell still had a smile on his face. Cecilia turned around. Huh, Natalie, what did you just say? At that moment, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I shook my head and didn't say a word. All night, I lay in bed, motionless, my eyes wide open, until dawn. When Mitchell woke up, he asked, "Where's the tie Cecilia bought me last time?" I sat up and looked at Mitchell and said softly, "Mitchell, let's break up." Mitchell flew into a rage, angrily knocking everything off the shelf. He clutched the tie tightly in his hand. Just because of that? Natalie, be reasonable. When was the last time you gave me a gift like this? Cecilia said you were very busy and under a lot of pressure and told me not to blame you. But Natalie, am I not tired? Have you ever thought about me? Do you even love me? Cecilia came over to comfort me, pushed Mitchell out of the room, and took my hand. Nadia, everything Mitchell and I are doing right now is for your future. He's under a lot of pressure. Can't you try to understand him just this once? I nodded numbly, trying to convince myself it was just an emotional outburst. The third time was last month. The Kinsey and Rickard families started discussing the wedding date. Cecilia smiled awkwardly. You didn't say a word, just sat there listening to them. I was so embarrassed. Mitchell raised an eyebrow. What do you want me to say? Admit we're lying to them. My grandfather will kill me. Cecilia covered her mouth, her eyes narrowing into slits as she laughed. So you are afraid after all. I thought nothing in this world could scare you. Oh, don't be like that. I'm afraid of you, aren't I? Mitchell's tone was lazy, with a hint of mockery, but then he fell silent. Cecilia turned her face away uncomfortably. A tense atmosphere filled the room. I stood outside the door, wiping the water droplets from my hands. I didn't go back. Instead, I wandered aimlessly along the street. The city was large, but I knew every alley and main street like the back of my hand. Why does this place still feel so foreign to me? I couldn't understand why I insisted on staying here, wandering like a lost soul. Nadia. Cecilia suddenly appeared across the street, calling my name in a panic, preparing to rush towards me. Suddenly, a car horn blared. Mitchell pulled Cecilia back just in time. Are you crazy? He was pale, his eyes icy cold as he looked at me. Cecilia dialed my number. I answered. I said, "Go get married, I quit." Cecilia fainted. She had a stomachache and fever, but still forced herself to eat dinner with me, afraid I would misunderstand. Even in her sleep, she anxiously called my name. Mitchell asked me, "Don't you feel even a little bit guilty towards Sixie? She has done enough for you." Enough. Everyone was sacrificing for me. As the so-called beneficiary, I didn't even have the right to stand up for myself. From deciding to leave the city to actually leaving, it only took 3 days. I opened a new debit card and then handed in my resignation to my boss. He looked at me as if I were crazy. He even asked, "Are you out of your mind?" A man has to go through so much, turning himself into something somewhere between human and ghost. "Natalie, do you remember who you used to be?" I really didn't know how to answer him. People change. Everyone changes. I am no exception. When I first came to this city, I wanted to settle down and build a home of my own. Now, leaving this city, my goal hasn't really changed. I just don't want to be dragged into all this chaos anymore. Maybe if I leave, it will all be over. My boss scoffed. If it were me, I would fire them all. But boss, I'm just tired. Life feels long, but perhaps it's very short. I'm exhausted. I just want to find a quiet place to live slowly. I decided on a small town in the south. I'd been there before. When my mother was still alive, she took me to her old university. She walked the paths she used to walk, and took me to eat the foods she loved during her student days. She told me that it was like her second home. She often missed it. The only regret is that it was there that she met my father, a lazy, gambling, and abusive man, ultimately landed himself in prison. After he left, my mother and I slowly built our own lives. Life was tough, but at least peaceful, until my mother passed away from illness. I didn't really want to go back to where I grew up, but I longed to visit my mother's adopted hometown. I bought a small one-bedroom apartment near the university. 2 weeks after settling in, I opened a cat cafe, which also served as a casual entertainment venue. Many college students came there looking for part-time jobs. I chose the one with the longest legs and the most handsome face. He stood at the door holding our cafe's cat in his arms, instantly becoming the most eye-catching sight on the street. I also rented the second floor, all glass walls and floor, to ceiling windows, planning to hire a pastry chef to sell desserts. To be honest, I could make them myself, but I am just lazy. Cookie is the most well-behaved of all the cats. I often sit in the sun with Cookie, stroking her fur and enjoying the warmth. Terrence Gibson was a hard-working man, bustling around the cafe, serving customers and tending to the cats. Before long, he started to get restless. He complained about the slow progress upstairs and blamed me for lacking ambition. Typical office worker, who can stay rational at work. Terrence alone wasn't enough. Whenever he had to go to class, someone had to cover for him. So I had him write a job posting. "What are the requirements?" he asked. "Handsome, beautiful, good-looking," I replied. "Is that why you are hiring me? What else? You think it's your skill?" Terrence shut his mouth, glared at me, and went downstairs. "Don't hogging Coochie, let her greet the guests." I sighed and gently nudged Coochie's bottom. "Go on, baby, time to earn some money for Mom." Bradley Barrett was the first to visit me. His first words were, "Mitchell and Cecilia are getting married." This was my 3rd month away. I changed my phone number and updated all my social media accounts. I completely severed ties with the past, but hearing their names again still made my chest tighten. I looked out the window and nodded. "That is good," Bradley snorted, then changed the subject. "The coffee shop's doing well. I remember you ran one in college too." Bradley was 2 years ahead of me, strictly speaking. We shouldn't have known each other. But back then, all I wanted was to make money, and I often went to the boys' dorms to sell cigarettes. Bradley was a regular customer. He was lazy, so I often ran errands for him, buying all sorts of things. Over time, we became familiar with each other. Later, when I had saved enough money, I rented a shop and started selling jewelry, accessories, and gifts. I always greeted customers with a smile, spoke politely, and moved around the shop enthusiastically. Bradley came by once, glared at me with disdain. He said, "You know what? You are so young, but you act like a middle-aged man." "What do you mean? Look at you, you look exactly like those 30 or 40-year-old shop owners." I love money, and I love making money. I've always believed that 80% of life's problems can be solved with money. What about the remaining 20%? If money can't solve the problem, then having no money certainly won't help either. "Back then, your eyes were sparkling," he said. "Now, I feel like I can see that sparkle again." Bradley. You are so cheesy." Bradley rolled his eyes. We drank tea and ate snacks, chatting aimlessly. "Bradley, you didn't come all this way just to see me, did you?" "Don't flatter yourself," he said. I am here for a meeting. You are not thinking of going back to your old ways, are you? I shook my head. To be honest, I wasn't sure myself. For the past few years, I felt like my brain had rusted. Work was like endless bricklaying, tiring and boring. But a few days ago, a student was drawing on her laptop in a cafe. I casually helped her make some corrections. And when I saw her eyes light up, I realized I actually quite enjoy drawing. University is a wonderful place. I often borrow Terrence's library card and spend hours there, immersed in books. A quiet afternoon of reading makes me feel incredibly relaxed. It felt like uprooting a tree and then planting it back in the ground. That sense of grounded peace made me let out a long sigh. I started drawing again. I uploaded several design drafts to the software, and surprisingly, they got a lot of views. Some people even messaged me asking if I sold my work. Bradley nodded. You could definitely take on some freelance work. I have some clients, some who just bought their second homes and want you to design for them, interested. But I have to tell you first, I'll be taking a cut. And just like that, Bradley's sudden visit made me an unofficial member of his team again, without my knowledge. Mitchell and Cecilia had set their wedding date for Labor Day weekend. I shouldn't have known, but Cecilia showed up. At the time, we were looking for Gigi, a beautiful but temperamental British short hair. Terrence was stamping his feet in frustration, pacing back and forth in vain. Move aside. You're only making things worse by not helping. I moved aside with my laptop, giving him a sidelong glance. If we can't find my baby, I'll dock your pay. Terrence glared at me, then nodded toward the window. Is someone looking for you? I turned around and saw Cecilia, her face ashen. She looked like she'd been struck by lightning, barely able to control her emotions. Don't get me wrong. When I said my baby, I meant the cat. Cecilia took the coffee I offered, nodded, and forced a smile. I guessed it. I overreacted a bit. To be honest, I didn't know what to say to her. We used to talk about everything. We used to lie side by side on the narrow double bed, whispering all night long. Now, everything has changed. She fell silent too. After a long while, she finally spoke. Mitchell and I are getting married. Congratulations. Cecilia's hand trembled slightly in the glass. When she looked up, her eyes were already red. Nadia, do you really hate me? This question caught me off guard. I forced a smile. I thought you were going to tell me the wedding was just a show, a family arrangement that you two couldn't avoid. Cecilia awkwardly turned her face away, momentarily speechless. Do you think I'm a hypocrite? Back in that twisted circle, they were noble. I was despicable. They were selfless. I was insignificant. I used to blame myself for being jealous, narrow-minded, and mediocre. But now, out of that circle, I answered her. Yes, you and Mitchell, you're both hypocrites. This time, even her shoulders trembled. Nadie, she choked, unable to continue. I stood up. If there's nothing else, Nadie, Cecilia looked at me again. I'm sorry for falling in love with Mitchell. I'm sorry for turning our performance into reality. When you left, I erased all traces of you. I am sorry. But Nadia, whether it's for the sake of the Kinsey and Rickard families, or for the last bit of affection we have left, I just can't let go of Mitchell. Nadia, Mitchell is looking for you. She pulled a bank card from her wallet, pushed it across the table, and handed it to me. Nadia, can I beg you? Please, don't show your face in front of Mitchell again. I took the card. You're trying to bribe me. Nadia, I agree. When I left back then, I left calmly and without hesitation. I never worried that Mitchell would find me. I always thought that if anyone wanted to erase my traces, it would be Mitchell's mother, Daniela. I never dreamed it would be Cecilia. Terrence asked the woman what she wanted. She didn't seem very friendly. She brought a gift. What? To hire some workers. We're renovating the second floor tomorrow. Terrence's eyes widened. He asked softly, how is that 18-year-old from out of town? He is energetic, but he eats a lot. I shrugged and waved, agreed. College days always fly by, 5 days until the weekend. 4 weeks later, it'll be a new month again. Before I knew it, winter had quietly arrived, and the new year was just around the corner. The quiet and reserved Angela Lloyd asked if I could stay at the cafe. She didn't want a salary, just to help care for the cats and look after the shop. Her family was struggling financially, just like mine had been. She also had student loans. I nodded, letting her stay, but keeping her salary, double pay for holidays. On New Year's Day, my phone kept ringing with text messages, mostly from the children. One of the greetings earned me a sum of money. They loved receiving them, and I smiled as I sent them out. Natalie, I made ravioli. The filling is different this time. I don't know which one you like best. Coochie lay lazily at my feet. She's always cold and seeks out the warmest spot. Gigi, as always, acted like a diva, raising her head and strolling over to Angela, rubbing against her legs and meowing. Gigi, do you want some too? I'll make you some cat treats. I rolled my eyes, thinking she was really spoiled. Gigi probably sensed something. She suddenly turned around and bared her teeth at me. Scared? Not at all. I grabbed a can of cat food and poured it into Pumpkin's bowl. Meow. Gigi's fur stood on end, and she came running over quickly. But Pumpkin wasn't one to be trifled with. She lifted her hind leg and smacked Gigi's face hard. And so the little princess and the yellow tabby cat wrestled on the floor. I picked up Cookie and quietly watched the chaotic scene. Outside, the wind howled, but inside it was warm and cozy. I took a bite of my ravioli, gave Angela a thumbs up, and said, "Honestly, this is the best ravioli I've ever had." Angela blushed and smiled shyly. "This is the best New Year I've ever had." I couldn't help but smile too. Yes, perhaps the future will bring even better things, but this was the best state of being. Mitchell and Cecilia's wedding took place as planned. Mitchell had often imagined marrying Cecilia, picturing how grand and exciting it would be. Falling in love with Cecilia had always been a natural thing for him. She was confident, composed, and elegant. Whatever life brought her, she handled with grace. She was his partner. They complemented each other perfectly, trusted each other, and supported one another. It was a quiet and complex love. Mitchell couldn't suppress his fantasies. What would it be like to be with her? How perfect it would be. But it was just a shameful fantasy, something to be buried deep inside, never to be spoken aloud. Cecilia was Natalie's best friend. He had Natalie. He couldn't betray Natalie. Especially not Cecilia yet. Sometimes he would think, if Natalie weren't here, everything would be so much easier. It takes countless small actions to bury a dark thought. But once that thought arises, no matter how hard you try to hide it, it will always find a way to surface. Every time Natalie brought up breaking up, Mitchell felt anxious and suffocated. Yet he couldn't help but steal glances at Cecilia. But he understood they were both too afraid. The complicated relationship, the promises they made, and most importantly, his sense of responsibility towards Natalie. So they both buried their feelings, wrapped themselves in a cloak of hypocrisy, forced Natalie to comply, and trapped her in their self-righteous hypocrisy. Mitchell understood when Natalie first attempted suicide by cutting her wrists. He was practically insane. Then, constantly bringing up Cecilia. Young men can't help but talk about the girls they love. Natalie would listen quietly, watching him. Her expression, her silence. Mitchell ignored it time and again, until one night, Natalie suddenly sat up, grabbed a knife, and slashed her wrists. At that moment, it was as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over Mitchell's head. He froze completely. He pretended not to see, pretended not to know anything. As if by acting as if nothing had happened, he could continue playing the good guy. He kept pretending until the pretense became reality. Somehow, Natalie became that unreasonable person. That jealous, narrow-minded girl blamed by everyone, and him and Cecilia. They did nothing wrong. Later, Natalie left. She left cleanly, silently, without a trace. The moment Mitchell realized she was gone, his mind went blank. He rushed out of the house, but his steps slowed, and he ended up just standing by his car. Natalie was gone. Wasn't this exactly what he wanted? He let out a long, uncontrollable sigh, a feeling of relief washing over him. He and Cecilia tacitly agreed never to mention Natalie again. It was as if she had never existed, as if their relationship had never happened. They held hands, embraced, kissed, their passionate emotions finally overflowing. They became a real couple. Those 3 months were the happiest time of their lives. Until one evening at dinner, Mitchell blurted out, "If Natalie were here?" The room fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. Cecilia's face turned deathly pale, and she stormed out. Mitchell lowered his eyes, frozen in place, chain smoking. In the end, he gave in and went to Cecilia. But before he could even speak, Cecilia broke down. "You still can't forget Natalie, can you?" Mitchell frowned, annoyed. He'd never found Cecilia so difficult before. "What's the point of saying all this now? I just want to get things clear." "So, what are we supposed to do?" Natalie was gone. They were together. If they tried to get things clear, it wouldn't make sense. They'd been living a lie from the start. One second, they were gazing lovingly at Natalie. The next, they were in love with each other. How could this be explained? The mere mention of Natalie's name was like a floodgate opening. Everything spiraled out of control. Mitchell began thinking of Natalie more and more frequently. He remembered the girl, resilient as a weed. She had once held her head high, stubborn and uncompromising, refusing. But Daniela said, with her background, most people wouldn't even consider her, let alone our family. Dating Natalie was fine. Marriage, forget about it. They tried again and again. Until Natalie left, Mitchell still believed he would marry her. But Natalie left. She left of her own accord, not because he didn't want her. Mitchell tried to convince himself. It used to be so easy, but now it was getting harder and harder. He tossed and turned, unable to sleep, standing on the balcony, smoking one cigarette after another. After his third, he called his assistant. "Do me a favor. Help me find Natalie." Finding Natalie shouldn't have been so difficult. But Mitchell searched for a long time without success. Just then, he realized someone was interfering. He went to confront Daniela. Daniela was very calm. She asked, "Does Cecilia know you are looking for Natalie?" "Mitch, don't sacrifice the bigger picture for trivial matters." His wedding to Cecilia was just around the corner. Even if he found Natalie, what good would it do? At that moment, Mitchell felt incredibly frustrated. Why? When Natalie was around, everything he did was wrong. After she left, everything remained the same. He and Cecilia went ahead with their wedding as planned. They were a perfect match, deeply in love, the kind of couple everyone envied. But only they knew. A landmine was always buried between them. One wrong step, and everything would explode. Cecilia never wanted to admit she was wrong. Even when she apologized to Natalie, she never truly felt she had done anything wrong. In love, there is no right or wrong. It was something beyond their control, something that happened naturally. Even without her, Natalie and Mitchell wouldn't be where they are today. She and Mitchell were destined to be together. She believed it without a doubt, without wavering, until Mitchell cheated on her. 10 weeks pregnant, Cecilia discovered Mitchell with another woman. Poor, frail, stubborn. Every move, every smile reminded Cecilia of Natalie. Cecilia felt a chill and trembled. She screamed, but Mitchell protected the girl, angrily yelling at Cecilia. "I was just giving her a place to stay, helping her out. She looks so much like Natalie." The second time Cecilia visited Natalie's city, Natalie was dating a university professor. Her smile was radiant. The girl who once seemed withered and lifeless now radiated new vitality. Just like in college, she ran ahead, then turned back to give Cecilia a carefree, happy smile. Cecilia stood outside for a long time, not going in. Just as she was about to leave, Natalie came out. "You've come?" It was just a simple greeting, but it almost brought tears to Cecilia's eyes. Natalie baked a batch of cookies and poured Cecilia a glass of freshly squeezed juice. Cecilia ate and drank slowly, her gaze fixed on Natalie, who sat by the window stroking the cat. As Cecilia was leaving, she said, "I won't bother you anymore. I am getting a divorce." Natalie looked up, basking lazily in the sunlight. She squinted and smiled. "Congratulations on your divorce." Cecilia wiped away her tears and turned to leave. She was getting a divorce. She was rich and powerful. She wouldn't compromise easily. But she wouldn't leave quietly like Natalie. She wanted half of Mitchell's fortune. Those were her child's. She wouldn't give up anything that belonged to her child, not a single penny. The story ends.